A person with hypothyroidism, hyperthyroidism, Hashimoto's, or Graves' disease would know how difficult it is to continue with the day-to-day chores just because of the fact that despite of popping in the pills, the gland is unable to function to its optimum, and therefore often a lot of complications are experienced. If popping in one single pill has not been helping you, then you got to start thinking about a remedy for the same. And that is when the herbs comes into picture. Now you may wonder, are these herbs going to help all of you? Well, no. That is why Ayurveda recommends multiple herbs depending on the status of your body or the status of your doshas. Now, before we get into the details of these 5 magical herbs, if you are okay to pop in the synthetic thyroid pill, you are okay to continue with the same, because if there are no complications, then you do not need these herbs. If you are not okay to start your day by popping in a pill, then comes the Ayurvedic management, or to be precise, reversal or the treatment to the Ayurvedic approach, wherein your body is understood step by step, and then a detailed protocol is figured out, wherein a 3-step management is to be undergone. First, anti-inflammatory management, second, gut reboot and the thyroid reboot, and the third, Rasayana or the restorative management. Now, this is how the reversal is done. Now, if you do not want to undergo such an extensive process, then you're okay to continue popping in the pill plus adopting these herbs. Let us try to understand why and where these herbs are put into use. The first one and the most popular one, ashwagandha. Ashwagandha is also called Indian ginseng, and it derives the name ashwagandha because it smells like horse. Not just that, it gives you the strength and the vigor of a stallion. Some of the benefits that can be attained by including ashwagandha in your daily diet is that it helps in improving your responsive time, as in the delayed reflex gets reduced. 2, it improves the functioning of your brain cells, thereby the memory, brain fog, lethargy gets managed. 3, it helps in the functioning of adrenal glands and also helps in the production of DHEA, which is the one responsible for energy, focus and vigor. It helps in reducing the FBS levels, which is the fasting blood sugar, and also brings down the lipid profile. It helps in improving the reproductive function and also the sperm count. It improves the overall energy and vitality of your body. It is an amazing rejuvenative or antioxidant herb called Rasayana, thereby helping in the cellular regeneration. It was found that upon introducing ashwagandha at a level of 600 milligrams for 8 weeks straight in about 80 people, thyroid hormone production was markedly improved, and thereby the fatigue also got resolved. Now, before I tell you how to use the same, there is a certain precaution that you need to be aware of. Ashwagandha is heating. Excess usage of the same or the misuse of the same in Hashimoto's thyroiditis can be counterproductive because it increases the heat in the liver. Therefore, somebody with a pitta imbalance should not be using it. Now, the best way to consume the same is by introducing it in the form of herbal tea. You may use 500 milligrams to 1 gram on a daily basis by infusing with the morning warm water. Boil it for 10 minutes and then you're good to consume the same. Second, and one of the commonly used herbs in our practice, Gokshura or Tribulus terrestris. It is an amazing diuretic herb, as in it helps in relieving the swelling. 3 advantages of Gokshura. 1, it helps in improving the lymphatic drainage, thereby reducing the swelling. 2, it is an amazing aphrodisiac, as in it helps in improving the sexual functioning in males. And 3, it is an amazing rejuvenative herb or Rasayana herb, thereby helping in cellular regeneration. There is one precaution to be borne in mind while you're using it. It is not the best recommended when you have a pitta imbalance, when you have bloating or constipation, and that is because it has a tendency to erode your epithelium, and that is why it is best to be used in combination with few other herbs. The best way to use the same is by infusing it in drinking water. You can either pair it with fennel seeds, coriander seeds, or vetiver root, thereby helping in cooling down the body and improving the lymphatic drainage. Third, and the most commonly found herb, dry ginger. It is an amazing antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, and Ayurvedically understood, it helps in removing the ama, thereby helping with detoxification. It is the most commonly used by those people who have multiple joint pain, indigestion, delayed digestion, fatigue, brain fog, difficulty in waking up in the morning, and constipation. Now, one small precaution to be borne in mind while using ginger is that it is not recommended when you have excessive heat in your body. How do you understand the same? Either you're prone to acidity, gastritis, bleeding piles, bleeding gums, ulcer formation, and even broken sleep. Under such circumstances, one should not be using dry ginger powder. And how do you use it? Either by making a concoction in the morning and consuming, or you can consume it immediately after lunch, because that is when the post-meal lethargy sets in the most in an obese hypothyroid. Or you can also use it for preparing your tea. Fourth, and the most popular herb amongst the thyroid population, Kanchanara. And that is because if you are a thyroid patient and if you have tried consulting an Ayurvedic physician, somewhere along he must have recommended you the Kanchanara Gogulu pills. And that is because Kanchanara, wherein the leaf almost resembles the shape of a thyroid gland, is synonymous to thyroid. The main benefit of Kanchanara or Bauhinia variegata is that it helps in reducing glandular swellings, be it because of thyroiditis, goiter, nodule, or cervical lymph node enlargement. In all of these conditions, it can be used. And it is also used in fibroids, cysts, tumor, and such growth. That is because it helps in shrinking the size of the growth. This herb is most popularly administered for obesity-associated hypothyroid. That is because it helps in reducing the kapha imbalance. One of the precautions that you need to bear in mind if you're planning to use the same is that if you have got weight loss kind of hypothyroid, then it is not recommended. The best way to make use of it is not by popping in Kanchanara Gogulu tablet, because that is best recommended after detailed consultation. Instead, you can infuse it in oil and it can be used for massaging on the swelling, be it thyroid, nodule, or other glandular swellings. Fifth, and the most precious herb, Haritaki or Terminalia chebula. It helps in relieving constipation. Tell me a thyroid patient who doesn't struggle with constipation, dry heart pellet-like stool, or incomplete evacuation. That is because in most thyroid dysfunction cases, the digestion is hampered and thereby evacuation is also affected. And that is where Haritaki comes into picture. With its Sara or secretory property, Anulomana, downward movement promoting property, and 3, Ushna, it helps in improving the digestion, thereby helping in the better formation of Sara and Kitta, which is nourishment and waste, and then better evacuation is observed. One of the precautions that you need to bear if you're planning to use Haritaki is, again, not recommended for somebody who has got excess body heat, because this can create more dryness in you. The best way to utilize the same is by making a kadha or concoction and to be sipped along with the dinner. Take 2 grams, infuse in warm water and sip it through the meal. This will help in better digestion, breakdown and assimilation of the food, and thereby proper formation of bowel is also obtained. Now that you know the benefits and precautions associated with each one of these herbs, try using them more responsibly, and thereby you can lead a disease-free life. Hope that helps.